welcome to the MoAD open mic. My name is Nia McAllister, and I'm the Visitor Experience Manager at the Museum of the African Diaspora in San Francisco. And just to start us off this evening, I want to acknowledge the times that we're living in. And MoAD stands with Black Lives Matter, and I want to recognize that we're living through multiple pandemics at the moment, including the ongoing systemic violence against Black people. And so in this space that we're creating, this is an area for us to acknowledge our grief, our anger, our exhaustion, and also to seek comfort and joy in each other's company. And so all are extremely welcome in this space. And it is also of the utmost importance that we center, respect, and continue to create spaces that amplify Black voices. And before we get into the logistics of this evening's event, I also want to acknowledge the spaces that we're occupying. And though we're gathered virtually, many of us are settlers, immigrants, or descendants of those forcibly brought to this continent. And our institutions were founded upon exclusions and erasures of the indigenous peoples whose lands we are located on. It is with deep, deep respect that MoAD acknowledges that even in a virtual space, our people, our work, and our network servers are all on Native lands. And we thank the indigenous peoples of the Bay Area and beyond who've stewarded this land throughout many, many generations. And so with that, I am extremely grateful again to find community and healing through art in this collective space. For those of you who are new or also returning to the space, I ask that throughout this event, you do keep your microphones on mute if you are not the person reading. However, it's different now that we're adapting to, a virtual open mic. Open mics are very intimate. We want to, receive feedback. We want to give feedback and affirmations. So I really encourage all of you, if pieces, stand out to you, lines stand out to you, please give our readers and our poets affirmations in the chat, air claps, snaps, use the reactions, any way to really engage with each other. And the work that's being shared is hugely appreciated. And so with that, I will be posting the chat, I will be posting the lineup in the chat for the open mic. And so the general format of the event is that we'll start with some of our open mic readers, the first half, which will be followed by our wonderful feature this evening, Imani Cezanne, and then we'll close out with our remaining open mic readers. So again, the lineup will be in the chat, and probably later on in the event, I'll message some of the readers individually if I know you're coming up in maybe 2 or 3 readers. If for some reason you joined late or I seem to have skipped over your name if you were on the original lineup, please send a direct message and I'll make sure back into the lineup. Before we start with our first reader, I also want to thank Art Bridges for their generous support to help continue our dynamic programming at MoAD. And also your support too. We are always appreciating any financial support that you're able to give. And so we'll put information in the chat about making donations, and I'll also revisit that at the end of the event too. In addition to support, also feedback is essential for us because we want to continue supporting our communities. And so I'll also share information about giving a program survey following the event as well. So we do want to hear from you. So with that, I think that's a lot of logistics, but I'm extremely excited to hear from all of you tonight. So to begin our open mic, I would like to invite Rachel Heath up to the mic.
Thank you so much, Nia. I'm so happy to be back with you all again. I'm going to be reading a new poem this evening, and I do want to give a trigger that there is some reference to police violence in the poem. So if you're sensitive to that, please take care of yourself in whatever way you see fit. So this poem is called A Mother Says Goodbye to Her Boy. She sees his still, chubby cheeks that go red now when she hugs him in front of his friends. She sees that he is a head taller than her now, but his glasses are the same thickness as when she first walked him into the optometrist. That day, the receptionist eyed her pale skin, wondering how her little brown boy could belong to her. She sees her boy's back has grown straighter now, propped up by a conviction that he uses as a shield against others who choose to see him in his favorite green hoodie as a threat. This conviction pushes her beautiful boy to gather friends to play a tribute in front of a courthouse that has yet to do its job of doling out justice for boys that look like them, but are no longer here for hugs or hoodies. She sees him walk out of the house with his violin in hand, his boyish curls recently shorn for relief from the summer heat. She sees the emptiness of the house and the invitation of the couch, but cannot see her way to rest. She doesn't see the people who come bearing flowers to lay at the young people's feet as a way of remembering. She doesn't see the people with phones recording and posting hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag the kids are all right, hashtag say their names. And she doesn't see the man in red hat push his way through the small crowd of mourners to spit at her boy, or the closing in of uniformed men to wordlessly shout, move along. And no one sees the moment that her bright boy with a violin takes the part of him that believes in goodness and love and buries it a little deeper into the darkness of organs and tissue and blood that now resonate with the music of fear. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that piece. Next up to the mic, I would like to invite Lorraine Bonner. Welcome. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Boy, that's a tough act to follow, man. that was really real. Thank you for that. Thank you so much, Ray. I have 3 short poems. I tend to write short poems. The first one is called Freedom. How small our definition. Freedom to travel tracks laid down for us. Job, house, future, someone even more free to take them all away. We are free to eat sugar, fats of dubious origin, grown in the South by people like us, free to work on the plantation or starve. We are free to drive on roads that crisscross the earth like scars from a merciless lash laid across her tender flesh. The earth, who used to be free to make mountains and meadows, flocks of geese and herds of buffalo whenever and wherever she pleased, arranging things so creatures were free to live together or in solitude, to flee predators or eat the abundant sunlit green which feeds everyone. She is bound now, and we are free to stand or kneel for a song or a flag. The next one is called Dissociation Lessons. Stay invisible, stay hidden, don't move, don't breathe. They will hear you by the creaking of your ribs. Don't sneeze under the dusty floorboards. Don't light a fire in the dark woods. They can see for miles. Remember you are small, tender, and tasty, easy to catch, easy to crush. When you are with others, feel nothing. If you begin to feel, you will move. Moving, you become visible. Send another face to the crowd, one of your masks, the one that makes you look big. See, a lot of people know what I'm talking about. This is called Cups. The cups have been waiting, empty, for decades, centuries, on shelves in the giant warehouse, faces open to the roof. The roof is proud to protect them. Its job to divert the rain. Cups think dry is best and are grateful to the roof. One day, a storm comes, hurricane, tornado, typhoon. The cups rattle and wail, roof groans, strains to keep hold, but in a great splintering roar, loses its grip, tears away, rain falls down on the cups. They have never known water, never knew they were thirsty, never knew their capacity. The first taste of water. As the cups fill, dust of centuries rises and flows out. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing those pieces. They're very meditative and thoughtful. I like the way that you read.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite McCall Aspa. Welcome up.
Yay, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Internet seems to be freezing. I think it's my internet. Can you let me know? Like, can you just signal if it's not working properly, if I'm freezing? And I'll just try again. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna read the first one, or I think I'll just keep to one. It's called Dear White. Okay. Dear white people, I need you to get I need you.
You just froze for a second. Would you be able to restart it?
Yes, I feel like I started. Okay. You guys are freezing. Oh man. Am I freezing?
Yeah.
A suggestion would be to turn off a video.
We can hear the audio fine, so maybe it's just the video.
Oh. All right. Shall I start?
Yes, go ahead.
It looks like we're still freezing. Okay. Okay. You guys are freezing, but you can hear me still.
Yeah, we can hear you.
As soon as I said that, it cut me out. Okay. All right, technology. I swear it was working fine until it was my turn. Okay. Here I go. Dear white people, I need you to get hit with the same shit I do just so that you give voice to same shit I do. Fortunately, unfortunately, in that way, we need you. We are intertwined. Because of you, the revolution is finally being televised. Thank you for finally taking the time to realize the white privilege you've had the whole damn time. For challenging challenges the depths to which you now know that it or think that things will change in time. Otherwise, strange fruit will continue to hang from trees like black lime. I don't need you to be the face of my pain, the voice of my struggle. I don't need you to speak on my behalf or feel the guilt of my troubles. I need you to stand with me, take a stand with me. I need you to speak on the privilege you have of getting away with murder, of never being called a terrorist, instead a bomber, of having the honor of your children, your soldiers, your warriors being recognized on the news when they lose their lives. I need you to speak on the things you've done, you've said, you've thought, you felt benefit from that does not serve the rest of the undoing of a system of privilege that allows you. The truth of the matter is, your power is the truth. And in accepting that truth, all lives can start. Were you able to hear me?
We heard you for the most part. It went in and out on a few lines. But thank you for sharing. If you had more to share.
It's okay.
What was that?
I'm good. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. We can always try again later too if you had more pieces.
Okay.
But I appreciate you sharing that piece. Next up to the mic, I would like to invite Kufikiri Imara. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Nia. It's glad to be back and be here. Not something I can always consistently make, so I really appreciate the opportunity to do so. Just gonna read a piece here. And as I do with my pieces, I don't title them, so they can just be received by the audience. Something I wrote a while back, though seems to be resonating in this unfolding moment we find ourselves in. So thank you to everyone. It's hard to get free when the government treats you like wild animals on safari. A nation with a ruling class focused on self-preservation using tactics that are draconian. Posting pictures of your plight won't help you take flight from the predators of the night. Whether your politics lean left or right, the money has the power and we're left to fight for what's right. Politics from the pulpit don't always fit. You can't feel the revival when your mind is predicated to only thinking about survival. It's hard to celebrate life when every child is dead on arrival. These flooded streets of pain have drowned out your smile. When you're raising yourself, you don't have time to be a child. You grow bigger, but you don't grow up. The traps of your past have got you stuck. Stuck up and beat down, they jacked your shine and stomped your heart out on the ground. Live by the lead, die by the lead. Folks woke up at your wake telling you the things they wish they said before you were dead. Only mamas clutching dead babies cry, wondering why the light was taking out their child's eyes. Pastors preach sermons to help the healing, but the tragic loss makes the words feel like a lie. Faces on t-shirts so they aren't out of sight, out of mind. You got bars on the windows like you're the one doing time. Children can't play outside. Last week there was another drive-by. So much life lost, you stop asking why. Numb to the pain you carry inside. Life played out like a movie, but you can't press rewind. Life played out like a hoochie, quick to give up that behind. Every day relentless like the tide and the time. No escape from the thoughts in your mind. The weight of the world weighing on you like your soul's in a grind. You search for release in a bag that's a dime. The feeling like nothing you ever felt before, it's so sublime. You don't even notice the prison you're now inside. No visits allowed who don't buy your lies. You're in solitary lockdown, so no going outside. And none of this was mere circumstance. It was all by design. Invisible hands set it all in motion before your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that piece. Very timely in the conditions that we're living through right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Makita Hooper Mayfield. Welcome.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome.
Cool. Thank you. I just have a couple of poems, some finished, some I'm still working. I'm living on the verge of tears. Black is not a shining new pair of shoes or the queen of spades. Black is to die for. Some on a train station, some hanging from a tree, some running, some dancing, some calling their mamas. I'm living on the verge of tears. He can't feel me. Yellow emojis and a rainbow of broken hearts. A heart this time. The player got played, a tiny ego on display. I'm not African or American. I'm what survives, the breaking, the forsaking. I'm what the ashes rendered, the one who never surrendered, the one who will tell, the one that they say, what the hell? The fast girl, the new creature. the one they call extra, too much, a handful, off the hook. That's me. And one more. It's titled Homeless. I see beautiful, mature women in the community. They're my age, born in the hopeful 1950s, teenagers of the revolutionary 60s. They take very good care of themselves. They are higher educated and proper. Some call it class. They marry and stay married and show up to important community events and religiously bring their yoga mats to class. They are usually quiet and reserved and tidy and orderly and sanitized. They go to buildings to meet God. They wear wraps and hats and would never wear blouses that show off their shoulders or skirts that flirt around the hem. I wear purple when the color of the day is pink. I sleep in clothes sometimes and then I wear them the next day if I want to. I fell in love with a man who liked my morning scent and another who was sitting on a bench. And through the years, anything that's about love brings me to tears and my heart aches with love. I'm pure shine. I have seen God. I'm a caterpillar and a butterfly over and over and over again. Hope is to dance, one more dance, to sing a song without perfect pitch, like a bird, to give new birth to a soul or a poem or myself, to experience things so beautiful it hurts, to drown in joy and be naked in the face of truth. Where in this world can I live? I'm homeless. That's it.
Wow, both of those were very beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Like we have Ryan Franco, welcome.
Shalom from Brunswick, Maine, everyone. And I am going to pull up a poem, just one poem. It's about when I was a teenager and I met my great aunt, who was a Holocaust survivor. One of the words in here is shul, which is just another word for a synagogue. So it's called Such a Nice Brisket, Such Normalcy. Aunt Lucia, Auntie Lucia, I did not know your name until we met. You were Great Uncle Gershon's wife. It would be the only time I met you. It had been over 2 decades and before I was born since you and Gershon had come to America. We were family. You hugged me with such genuine love that we had never met. We were family. Uncle Gershon kissed both my cheeks as if he had held me as a baby, a surrogate grandfather for the one that had died when my father was 5. It was warm that night. Dad turned on ceiling fans and opened windows. We were dressed for shul, sitting for dinner, coats over chairs, sleeves rolled up. You rolled up your sleeves and there it was, a tattoo of numbers and letters reducing you from a person to a piece of soon to be discarded inventory. I was a teenager. I stared. Dad had told me not to ask questions. You reached across the table to place your ivory soft hand on mine. You said, Treblinka. Uncle Gershon had made his way to the Belgian Congo before the Nazis arrived in Rhodes. In Italy, your family was sent away in cattle cars. After liberation, you made your way to the Congo as many European Jews did, met Uncle Gershon, and made a new family, and eventually found your way to South Africa. But that night, you were in Mobile, Alabama. Shabbat dinner at my mom's chrome-leg postmodern kitchen table, such normalcy. You lit the Sabbath candles with a sweet, chubby-cheeked smile, such normalcy. You complimented Mom's brisket and asked her for her kugel recipes, such normalcy. That night was a warm, spring Alabama evening. You rolled up your sleeves as if you weren't revealing something unspeakable, as if that night was a regular occasion and such a special family event. You did. It was, and it was. I was a teenager. I could only think of this tattoo. I imagine one Nazi shaving your head while another used a needle to give you a serial number. It was the ugliest scar I'd ever seen, a wound cauterized by hate and history. That night, it was warm. Ceiling fans and open windows warm. Sleeves were rolled up. I stared at what I saw as a horrific scar, but to you, it was only a reminder of a childhood incident that had happened so long ago and was no fault of your own. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that piece. Next up, I would like to invite James Cagney to the mic. Welcome, James.
Thank you for that, Nia. Good evening to everybody. This poem is called Burning and Looting. Why do they burn up their own neighborhoods? All we've ever owned is debt and blood, we hostages with amnesia in our sand-trapped homes. Our elders carry purses full of shattered glass. Think petrified tears, not diamonds. Engraving names on the smallest chunks, passing like pills from mouth to mouth. Prescriptions of grief, body of Christ as antacid for injustice. This is what we own while you consume and dismiss. Here's to the stinking history you expected someone else to take out, just so you won't see who's still chained in your backyard. Salute to your sickness, your gaslighting and games, inventing machines of generational indifference that eat and swallow communities whole, leaving indoctrination landmines like turds and needles in the weeds. Only you would think to give death as a gift to strangers. If I nervously start to apologize once you break out in smokescreen, it's because someone needs to say a few words that won't end in genocide. At the end of the road, burn what you find and lay a claim on the scorched land. I'm quoting from your unredacted 23andMe. It's like a stripper menu of dictators where the bottle service is either smallpox or bleach. For 400 years, you sat drinking alone, cussing out every other table. Doxology to the ceremonies of hatred in your thirst cathedrals of dominion. Your status quo fever burns from the parasite you subscribe to eat a little bit of every day. Notice how the lines for poison keep getting longer, how the customers all look the same, predictable. Every year, a pagan ceremony is activated in the desert. The inner druid cracks open, goes locust, constructs an effigy, parody of the second coming and its invisible cow. A Ouija of flame is welcomed to feast, while the praise song to anarchy is lifted. All this done as a form of play from prophets in doubt. But spirit don't play, can't discern the difference between begging and bullshit, party trick or prayer. Shadows don't always need to be called to appear. All right, thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much, James. Every time you have such power on the mic. Always something.
Thank you, Nia.
Next up, we have Melissa Noel. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay, Nia?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. All right, so there's a couple of pieces that I want to read tonight. And the first one is Colorism. Dark, fair skin, light brown, dipped in sepia. Colors of ancestors, cosmic heat of hereditary tender Mississippi River curtains, creating from the integument laughter. Intelligence riddled in case and class, gallant wings of melanin rings shared in power. generational hate of enriched blackened dermis, or Nina Simone's 4 women who put a spell on you, us. Coiled hair, hips, ass, lips, nose, astronomical features of the acubulon genome. Instead of realized, distinguished elegance, we turn to the ostracized against the marginalized. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, but only if you believe this to be undoubtedly true. She's too dark, bright yellow just right. We allow other influences to define Black beautiful, define acceptance, define inclusion, define progress, define success, define us, define us, define us, define us. Thank you. All right, this last piece that I want to do is a little different from some of the work that I've done before, but the title of this is The Royals of 165th Street. I know you think Prince Charming lives in a castle with tons of silver and gold and diamonds that sparkle. You probably think the prince has a constable that oversees everything. A bunch of cooks, craftsmen, and spinners. Now, don't get me wrong, there are spinners, but there are also the Delphonics, the Dells, the Persuaders, the Originals, the Stylistics, and even the Commodores. Yep, Lionel Richie is in the house too. House speaking figuratively, meaning the prince's crib, which actually is a studio apartment on the east side, while he saves up money for a car. Now, I know you think Prince Charming is 6'5", in the best shape of his life, and has conquered every battle he has experienced. Well, he definitely has experience in what it means to go through peaks, valleys, and strife. When he looks in the mirror, he still sees a good man who has a lot to give. A man who looks like Harold Melvin in the Blue Notes, or any other guy willing to try love again. He's just waiting for you to be more flexible in your thinking. And before you know it, your Prince Charming will come winking. So I know you are enjoying life on your own right now, enjoying your friends of distinction. I also know you are going in circles trying to figure out if there is a man left on the planet who is made just for you. Just for you, my incredible princess. In so many words, I guess that's to be determined, but you know, love is crazy like that. Before you know it, you'll both be trying to fit into each other's lives. And before you know it, you'll realize that happiness is being content with the simplicity of calm and beauty of laughter. Before you know it, you'll both be rewriting that chapter on the true meaning of happily ever after.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing those pieces. I like the variety in all of them too. So I'm going to share a few poems before introducing our wonderful feature for this evening. So this first piece, I started writing in 2014. Finished it 3 years later. It's entitled Motherlands. Maybe this restless nature comes from my divided heritage. The state of not having one single place to call my motherland. Instead, my motherlands called to me in their different tongues, languages foreign to me, dialects lost in translation, lost in transatlantic waters, left behind on the islands across the Pacific, with relatives I may never know. Motherlands I have yet to return home to. This next piece is a rather new poem that I wrote in response to a work of art by the artist Ellen Bepp. This is entitled "To Build a Revolution in 7 Tongues," after Ellen Bepp's Unity. 1. Bless the earth we borrow time from. Every tear we shed carries salt from the seas our mothers and grandmothers fought their way across. 2. Count the calluses on your palms. Name each after your parents' hardest sacrifice. 3. Braid white flags into your hair. Keep needles in the corner of your mouth, ever ready to craft a new symbol for freedom. 4. Mistake history for war and bury it, and then unbury it when you are called to give truth a second chance. 5. Collect all the seeds of justice and make green capitalism's casket. 6. Erect a monument out of fire. 7. Call protest by her nickname, Unity. We must act quick before we forget what loss feels like across oceans. We must rebuild futures in our communal imagination. We must grow certainty in liberated gardens. We as in oneness. We as in we are all part of one another. We as in tomorrow's world is ours to build. We as in there is no freedom without each other. Thank you. And so with that, I would like to turn over the mic to our wonderful feature for this evening. We have Imani Cezanne joining us tonight. Imani is a poet, performer, and teaching artist from San Diego, California. For the last 5 years, Imani has worked full-time as a nationally touring poet, sharing her work at poetry venues, colleges, universities, conferences, and festivals across the nation. Imani has won 5 Citywide Grand Slam Championships, placed in the top 10 at 7 World Poetry Slams, and has appeared on 3 major network television shows performing original work. In addition to forthcoming work in poetry journals such as Fugue, Nimrod, and Crab Creek Review, in 2016, Imani released Black Girl Fly, a chapbook with Belladonna Press. In March, she became the 2020 Woman of the World Poetry Slam Champion for the second time, the only 2 people to ever do so. So with that, I'm so excited to have Imani up to the virtual mic. Welcome.
Hi, woo, woo, woo. It's so funny because I have music on because silence is anti-Black. But it's so funny because like I sent someone my bio and then when they read it, I get surprised as if I didn't know you were gonna read my bio. It's the most uncomfortable feeling to just sit here and listen to people talk about your accomplishments. But I appreciate you, Nia, for having me. How you doing, girl?
Good. It's good to see you. We're not in the MoAD space, but it's nice to see your face.
Right. If I would have known last time I saw you was going to be the last time I saw you, then it just looked a little different.
We had no idea.
No idea. Hi, everybody. This is very awkward for everybody who performs on a regular basis to do things on the internet, but I'm grateful for it regardless. I think it's has become something I didn't know I needed, especially considering the indefiniteness, if you will, of all of this. And so I appreciate MoAD for creating virtual spaces like this. I appreciate y'all for attending the virtual spaces that are created. Because if it don't nobody come, then it's just me and Nia talking to each other, which would also be fine. It's just not ideal, you know? So I'm gonna say some poems. I specifically chose my very, very Black poems for this. All of them are Black poems because yes, they're written by me and such and such and such. But these are especially uniquely Black. So there's about 3 or 4 of them. I also live across the street from a hospital, so if you hear a siren or something, don't be alarmed. It's totally fine. It's normal. Yeah. So I just do the things, right? Just ready, right? Whenever I'm ready. Okay. All right. So the first poem I'm gonna do. So I'll start by saying that my name is Imani Cezanne. I do poems. All the things in the bio are true. What is interesting about my life right now is I've been kind of exploring poems on paper in a way that I haven't before. So much of my work is around poetry intended for performance, which it just looks different. It's designed differently. We have, you know, the luxury of our voices and, you know, our bodies, eye contact, tone, inflection, things like that to guide and to administer, if you will, deliver the poem in a way that it's intended to be read. Excuse me. But when you write poems on paper with the intention to have them read by someone else, you don't have access to any of those things, right? And so, but you have access to new things like stanzas, line breaks, you know, placement of words on the paper. I don't know. There's also a lot of terms that I'm still learning, so I don't, you know what I'm talking about, where the words go on a page. Those things matter, right, in ways that they didn't ever matter before. And so all that to say, I kind of started by taking the poems that I liked, that I enjoyed, that were quote unquote doing well on stage, and I was like, okay, what would this poem look like if I wrote it with the intention for it to be read out loud? So all that to say that some of these poems might sound a little different than what you're like used to hearing from me, if any of you have heard my poems before. If not, then you don't know the difference anyway. So I hope you enjoy them. This one is called No Crowns Allowed Through TSA. I traveled a lot back when that was allowed, specifically to perform poems at places. And TSA is just awful, awful place. And it's had a lot of issues with TSA and my hair specifically, and so this poem came from that. The first section is called Two Strand Twist Out. A cherry blonde with more flakes on her shoulders than a box of cereal is assigned to investigate my scalp, dig through its sacred ground, unearth foreign land for the sake of the discovery. This is not the first excavation I've endured, or the second or 10th. This is just a precaution. This is just to make sure. I roll groggy eyes and take a breath deep as the Atlantic. Unlatch the fence, pull back the barbed wire perimeter. Crooked fingers burrow a too forgiving soil. Madam Walker Rich, crop dressed in Cantu's new spring collection. And this heifer had the nerve to demand an explanation. Asked why each spiral foamed at the mouth. Called it a ravenous kink, an unhedged garden of flight risks in full bloom. Swore she heard an eager snarl that could devour her kind of blood for fun. Cornrows. I place my shoes on the conveyor belt next to my dignity, release my buckle, remove rose gold hoop earrings, wait, again, for terrorizers to accuse the terrorized of terrorism. They eventually pull each kernel from its husk, finger every stencil carved design, plantation pattern so black, baby hairs sat easy on the hip, edge curls stretched, then tightened into shiny ringed ornaments, toothbrush and pro style slick, No liquids, gels, creams, aerosols, shea butter, knocker balls, hard bristle brushes, barrettes, bonnets, or bundles permitted on the aircraft. They done lost their damn minds. Naturally, my hair insists on speaking to a supervisor. In trots a golden retriever, and they call me rabid. Bantu knots. You gonna do something with that natural? Silly girl, you thought this contraption could penetrate that mangled mess? Good one. Is it yours? Is it real? Is it really yours? Guess we'll find out. Remember in 5th grade, Sarah called you pubic head? Ha, 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 ha. And you said you would never let one of us touch you again? Tough crowd. I thought your body was yours just because you said so? Adorable. Remember when, how, after, and you vowed to never look a hot dome in the teeth again? Ha, ha, ha. Box braids. This donut powdered renacot poked and prodded my skull like I was up for purchase. The way them oils popped when he clutched them naps in the back, you would have thought it was dinner in the kitchen. My hair was hot, sizzling, boiled overflow of sass, wished to explode into a tangled revolution, burn the airport down and erect a monument in its unmanageable image. But every strand held its respectable place, suffered through the yank, tug, pull, and not one tress unraveled. He cracked each mouth wide open, checked teeth for buried bite, stroked waist-length plaits for whip scar clues of back talk or book learning or looking like they was thinking something. They was, of all the ways to kill him dead. So that's that poem. Silent applause. Cool. Thank you. I'm all searching through the names to see who's here. Hey, Katina girl. Hey, Timba. Hey, Darius. Also, James Cagney was here earlier. Shout out to you and everybody else, my new friends that I don't know. I appreciate y'all for being here. Yeah, so that was that poem. Oh, look at the comments. Okay, all right, okay. That's the ways to contribute. If you want to say something, say it in the comments. Okay. My next poem, I don't know, is gonna be, I'm just scrolling. Okay, let's do this one. So these poems are kind of long too, so that's why it's only gonna be like 3 or 4 of them. You don't know that they're long, again, when you, part of writing for the stage, especially for when we, rewind. Writing poems to be performed, especially writing poems that may be performed at a poetry slam, requires a level of, you just have to pay attention to the time, right? Time is of the essence, always. And so it's funny because I've been writing these poems without worrying about how long they are. And then I read them and I'm like, oh, this is like 6 minutes of me talking, but y'all gonna get all these words on today. All right, so this poem, I'm not ready for that poem yet. This is one of the longer ones. So I always wanted to write a poem about how I learned how to cook. I learned how to cook from most of the people in my family. My mom and my dad both cooked well. And but I had two particular great aunts that especially taught me how to cook. They've lived together my whole life. So we call them like the Black Golden Girls, even though there's only 2 of them, because they've just like, so going to my aunt's house meant seeing the both of them. And yeah, they taught me how to cook without any recipes, without writing anything down. Part of so much of how we learn things in Black families, but especially around the kitchen, is through oral traditions and just being told how to do things that you're supposed to remember. And you do it enough times that, it becomes second nature. And so I always wanted to write a poem about that. Or about just, what that looks like. And I found the best way to do that was with the way I wrote this poem. And it's kind of in the voice of my mother, my father, my great aunts, the people who taught me how to cook. Drink some water. All right, let's do the thing. It's called, what's it called? I found this poem in the kitchen. Make a list. Check for what you already got so you don't go wasting your money. Look in the ad for what's on special. Can't just go putting any old thing in your cart. You got to get the name brand or it ain't going to come out right. But sometimes the off-brand will work. You just got to doctor it up. Won't nobody know the difference. The milk in the back is the coldest. Check your eggs for cracks. Always get the meat with the bone. That marrow is one of them insides that count. Give your money to the cashier. Praise God. Get your food in the house with no mess. Praise God. See that ice box about to burst open? Praise God. Turn on your oven and some Stevie. Start with what takes the longest. Wash your greens, mustard, turnip, collards, then wash them again, then a couple more times. Throw them in the pot with them ham hocks and let them be. Season the meat up real good, overnight if you got the time. Season salt, black pepper, lemon pepper, yes, both. Paprika, cumin, poultry seasoning, onion powder, garlic salt, garlic powder, yes, both. Can't be measuring everything either. This ain't about numbers. This is about feelings, about what the hands remember. Careful with that salt. You can always throw some more if you need it. Sprinkle some water in your pan and wait for that oil to pop. Get a nice brown on that meat before you cook it. Slow. Onion, garlic, thyme, basil, sage, bay leaf. Keep them bones too. Make you a nice broth. Now put your macaroni on the bowl. Use Mama Lynn's pot. Not that one. That one. Melt some butter. Grate your cheese. Mild, sharp, extra sharp pepper jack and a cheese with some funk in it. Your auntie likes the Gouda. Scoop some flour in and pour your milk. Slow till you use it all. Let that roux thicken up. Whisk them lumps out too. Add some of this, a little of that. Not too much, a little bit more. Yeah, like that. Stir that up. Cook it till it's done, till it's brown on top, till the middle don't jiggle no more. Now make the cornbread for your dressing, not that jiffy mess. Use the cornmeal in the orange box. Now while that's cooking, you boil your giblets in some water with some more seasoning. What I tell you about that salt, when you cutting onions, that first layer, don't eat that. But don't throw it away neither. Give it back to the earth like we did with my mama, like you gonna do with me. Praise God. Now turn that fire down. About to scold my good pot, knowing damn well you ain't got no money to give me no new one. Now for the cobbler, you get you some pretty peaches. You gotta smell them though to make sure they sweet. They should give a little when you squeeze them too. Should feel heavier than they look. That's the juice weighing them down. Another one of them insides that count. And you know what to do with them peels, don't you? All right now, put them slices in a bowl with a little sugar, some brown, vanilla. Use less cinnamon than clove and about half as much nutmeg. If it tastes like candy, throw in some apples. Let that tart cut into that sweet. Ain't nothing you can't fix, but you want to have to fix it as little as you can. Any fool can pour some filling into a crust. That don't make it a pie. You'll learn. We all do. Learn to mess up and know it's already all right. But you're still gonna eat. You're still gonna have enough for everybody. Now get back to your dressing. Break up that bread, put it in a bowl, brown your sausage. Make sure you got that good kind of sausage. Pour that giblet water in there too. Not too much or it'll get soggy, but if you don't put enough, it'll be dry. Now chop up them giblets. Oh, we already did that. Use your, put that spoon down. Use your hands. That's how you get the love in there. What you mean is it ready? How am I supposed to know? You got a finger, don't you? Well, stick your finger in and taste it. Do it taste right? Then it's ready. Listen, this takes practice, but you don't get it. You believe that? Yeah? Well, you can't just believe, you gotta know. Know yourself, know your kitchen, trust your nose, then cook. Cook till it's done, till it's brown on top, till you stick a fork in it and it come out clean. Turn them greens off, set the table, make a plate, bless the food, praise God. Woo! Silent applause, silent applause. I'm really in here doing poems to silence. This is fantastic. Thank you, I appreciate y'all. That's a whole monologue. I need to submit that to something. Cool. Yep, I'm very Black. It's my favorite, one of my favorite things about myself. So I guess I should talk about like my relationship to MoAD. That'd be cute. I am a teaching artist with MoAD. In the, what is it, MIC program, it's MoAD in the classroom. And so we go to a number of classrooms across the Bay Area, San Francisco and Oakland specifically. And we teach about visual art. We teach, and along with the diaspora, of course, what is a diaspora? Why are there Black people in literally every part of the world? It's so fun too, because they're third graders, the third grade program specifically. And so having to break down these very complex concepts and ideas to a third grade level is really interesting. And then seeing the conversations that come up from third graders, right? And I have I got my degree from San Francisco State in Black Studies. And so I understand that I have a unique understanding of just the history of, the things that happened and how we kind of got to where we are now. I know that it's unique in the way that there are Black folks who know Blackness from experience alone, which is enough and is valid and is important, and is perfect. But aren't always able to articulate exactly what's happening. So all of that to say, we've gone into some very interesting conversations with these third graders about what does it look like to be Black, who's not. Well, my mom is from here and my dad is from here. So, does that mean we're all African or just me? Or, I'm white, but I have a Black sister, right? So but we're, it's just very interesting. Anyway, I'm rambling. All that to say that I appreciate MoAD, and I've spent a lot of time there. We also bring the students into the museum, which is really cute too. Especially when there's like a naked lady painting or something. Oh my God, they have a fit. Oh my God, those are boobs. Then we have to have a conversation about our bodies, our art, and that doesn't mean you should be pulling your pants down in front of your classmates, but also there are certain places where it's okay. So that's always fun. So anyway, where are we? What are we talking about? Okay, so this poem is heavy. That's why I didn't want to do it second. I've been talking. How long have I been talking? How many more minutes I got? Okay, I just want to keep going. I'm just up here talking. All right, so this poem, I was with a friend of mine. We were on our way to the airport. And we got there, we got into a conversation with a cop who was bored. And when I drove off, the cop had another cop follow us and pull me over. And it was like 2 or 3 days after the shelter in place, what was it called? Law or whatever, mandate was implemented. And so it was just a generally difficult time for everybody. And then of course, right, what is the saying that when America gets a cold, Black people get pneumonia, right? So everything uniquely and drastically is amplified with Black folk, right? And so just constantly, before I was pulled over, constantly thinking about, COVID-19, shelter in place, what does that look like for the Black population? What does it look like for me to be out past a curfewed time? What does it look like for you to mandate a mask and I don't have a mask and I'm Black, right? Because we know that Black folks, like I said, are having a unique experience anyway. And so when you add these particular ways of policing folks, we are going to be, the effect on us is going to be exponentially larger than everybody else. And so I was scared. I was scared out of my mind. I was more, again, uniquely scared, more scared than usual. Also because I was with, like I said, I was with my friend and he kind of wild. No, I'm just kidding. He's on here listening to talk about him. And I was scared. And we were like in the mid, like I don't know if you've been to Oakland Airport. Most airports are in the middle of nowhere, but this one especially. So we're on this like abandoned road. There's just dirt on either side of the lane. There are literally no other humans. Like anything could have popped off and nobody would have known. And so I give the cop my ID and stuff. And while he's going back to check it, I asked my friend, I was like, can you hold my hand? And he held my hand. And I was like, okay, what's the worst case scenario? Because if we can be okay with the worst case scenario, then, I can move towards being okay. And so he was like, well, we die. And I was like, yeah, we die. That's the worst that could happen. I'm like, okay, well, I'm okay with that. I mean, there's nothing I could do if that happens. So what's after that? And so we're literally like going down of like what the worst things could be, especially again, considering this is a unique time because, you know, there's a pandemic and there's a lot going on. I'm talking a lot. All that to say, I went back and I wrote a poem that is very different from this one, but over time ended up here. It is a, damn, I forgot the word. That's how you know I'm not a real poet because I don't know the names of the forms. But it's, Darius, put the form in the chat. I don't remember what it's called, but it's one of those that has, has like a, I wonder if I could share my screen with you. Cleave poem, yes, so I keep it around. It's a cleave poem, which means that it can be read across all the way, or it can be read in each of the sections. I wonder if I could share my screen with you guys. That would be cute. Oh, let's do that. Okay, we're gonna do that. Okay, so now you can see what I'm talking about. Can you guys see it? No? Can I get a thumb or something?
We can't see it yet. It says that you're sharing your screen, but there's nothing on it.
Okay, just give me a second. This is gonna be really dope if I can figure this out. But it's not working. It's like frozen. I think I froze my computer. I broke it. But you can still see me? Damn.
No, I can't.
You can't see me? Okay. I tried, you guys. I tried to do a cool thing, but technology won't let me be great.
Other people say they can see you.
They can see me?
I can see you, but you're frozen.
Oh, interesting.
It has nothing on it, but just...
It's weird, though, because now my computer's frozen. Damn, Imani. See, this is what happens.
You gotta do poems on the head. You gotta do poems you memorize.
Shut up, Darius. Okay, I'm gonna...
Oh,
yeah. Okay, you see it now?
We can see it.
Yes, look at God. Sometimes, amen, you just got to take a moment, praise God, and he will give you what you ask for. It may not come when you want it. All right, so this is worst case scenario. So yeah, like I said, it's intended to be read all the way across and then the left column and then the right column. So I'm going to read it all the way across first and then the left column. I don't know why people ask me to say things to them. All right, here we go. I die while my body reds the concrete. You die. Nope, I'm just gonna do, I changed my mind, sorry. I'm gonna read the left side and then the right side and then all together. That's what I'm gonna do. All right, here we go. I die while my body reds the concrete. Bare hands, sweat heavy and quaking while panic spills from your mouth and I am stuck here, panting, waiting to happen. Meanwhile, all my faults sit casually. Maybe there are worse traditions to follow than dying on the way to anywhere but here, looking for any now, but now I am another name thrown into the pile. Even if you tell my mother I planned for this, she'll still crack. But God is always on time, so I ain't dead, just on schedule. While the evening news broadcasts my last breath, we wonder, how can we call ourselves gods if our children grow up to be dead? Before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to polish and turn to coin and travel toward the light, looking for a place not white, so we'd be not black people, just alive. And I want you to know I tried and I held on as long as I could. All right, so now the right side. You die, and I have to pluck the lead out of your chest. And an apology I do not want turns to foam while the car runs on my behalf with a lit blunt burning in the ashtray, slow and black and mild, like an innocent nigger that inhaled then exhaled because a cracker cop ain't want us breathing. You do not get to smile or cry or shout or say goodbye before I unclench your hand. I promise to remember to resist, to fight, to talk, slick walk, just like we practiced and pray. Yes, pray to all of them. Buddha, Allah, Jah, but you still do not rise 3 days later, or 4 or 5. And when I hand the bullets I rescued from your rib cage to your aching mother, I'll explain that we were not the wrong bodies, not the wrong color. We just could not out-hang the lynch, but I tried. I really did. I swear. All right, now this is all of it. I die while my body reds the concrete. You die, and I have to pluck the lead out of your chest. Bare hands, sweat heavy and quaking, while panic and an apology I do not want turns to foam, spills from your mouth, and I am stuck here panting while the car runs on my behalf with a lit blunt waiting to happen. Meanwhile, all my faults sit casually, burning in the ashtray, slow and black and mild. Maybe there are worse traditions to follow than dying like an innocent nigger that inhaled, then exhaled on the way to anywhere but here, looking for any now. But because a cracker cop ain't want us breathing, I'm another name thrown into the pile. Even if you do not get to smile or cry or shout or say goodbye, you tell my mother I planned for this. She'll still crack, but before I unclench your hand, I promise to remember God is always on time. So I ain't dead, just on schedule to resist, to fight, to talk slick walk, just like we practiced. And while the evening news broadcasts my last breath, we pray, yes, pray to all of them. Buddha, Allah, Jah, but you still wonder, how can we call ourselves God if our children do not rise 3 days later, or 4 or 5? And when I grow up to be dead, before I wake, I pray the Lord, hand the bullets I rescued from your rib cage to my soul to polish and turn to coin and travel toward your aching mother. I'll explain that we were the light looking for a place not white, so we'd be not black. Not the wrong bodies, not the wrong color. We just people, just alive. And I want you to know I tried, and I could not out-hang the lynch, but I tried. I really did. I held on as long as I could. I swear. All right, let's figure out how to unshare my screen. Oh, stop share. Oh, I can read. All right. Woo, thank y'all. Someone gave me an award in the comments. That's the most incredible award I've ever gotten. Cool. No, it wasn't supposed to be shaped like a rib cage, but that's a cute idea. No, it totally was. That was on purpose. Do I have time for one more poem? Okay, I'm gonna do one more poem. Ooh, that was a lot. I need a breath. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. I need some water. Yeah, again, appreciate y'all for being here. Appreciate MoAD for having these spaces. Y'all can follow me on social media things if you want to. I kind of be talking shit, but you know, it's who I am. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's all Imani Cezanne. And we'll make sure it's spelled somewhere because folks be struggling with that one. It's French. No, what is the last poem I'm gonna do? I don't know what it is. We're gonna find out together as a family. I'm just gonna scroll and see. Okay, I'll do this one. Ooh, or should I do that one? Ooh, I'm gonna do this one because I like it. All right, so again, yep, poems are very Black today. This one is another form poem. there's only 2. It's so funny because I'm like, oh my gosh, I love form, but I've only written 2 poems in a form before. I mean, I guess you could argue that slam is a form, right? Because you have to 3 minutes and you kind of want to start off, you know, a certain way. So anyway, all that to say, this is the second form that I tried. I also forgot. It's called a golden trumpet. And it's a almost a derivative shovel. I always say trumpet. I want it to be a trumpet so bad. It's not a trumpet, it's a shovel. It's called a golden shovel, again, so I keep him around. And you know Darius, he featured not too long ago. Yeah, that's my friend. Golden shovel. Yeah, he's also my assistant. Thanks, Darius. I appreciate you. And it's like a derivative of an acrostic poem, which is like, you know, if I were gonna write an acrostic poem of Imani, then the first line would start with an I and the second M, etc. It's kind of the reverse of that, and then also different. So what it is the lines end with a particular word, and so that in the stanza, all the end lines make up something, some sort of like a verse or a chorus or whatever it is that you pick. I picked LL Cool J's I'm Gonna Knock You Out because I'm ridiculous. And because the poem is called I Want to Punch All the White People in Oakland. And so I felt like it was appropriate. And so this was actually a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be, specifically because I had to use knock 4 different times. And knock is not a word that has a lot of different ways to use it. And so that was hard, but yep. Form has required me to be creative in a way that I never had to be before. And it's like, there's so many opportunities and options, but this line has to end with this word. And you don't know like what that does, it fucks me up. But anyway, it's called I Want to Punch All the White People in Oakland. It's been my last poem. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm excited to hear everybody else. Also, I just wanted to make sure that y'all heard Miss Makita, how you say it? She said, I am not African or American. I am what survived. I just wanted to make sure y'all heard that because I had to write that down. That's going to be a whole nother poem. All right, here we go. I want to punch all the white people in Oakland after LL Cool J. I want to punch all the white people in Oakland in the mouth. Serve up a cold brewed left hook, smooth and black and right on time. I'm not a violent person, but I know a little something about fear. And if you scared I'm gonna beat you like a djembe at the 3rd protest this week, you might think before you knock down that door where none of your business lives like you the damn police, like you looking to summon blood. And for once, it ain't gonna be mine. It ain't gonna be my body laid out. It's gonna be your jaw split, your gums draining onto your dockers, and not even your mama gonna be able to recognize her child's bludgeoned face, all red and white and blue. I said I'm not a violent person, just a courier delivering a beatdown, a signed, sealed knock off your imaginary pedestal in your imaginary Oakland. Welcome to the East, where you can't say whatever the fuck you want to whoever you want, or you may not make it out. Of all the ways there are to make someone bleed, my favorite is on purpose. I mean, I'm just saying, if you didn't want to get hit, you should have just kept on walking by. How you gonna tell me what not to do in my own body? Your privilege has no authority. I bet if I knock you down a few notches, you won't be so quick to let that N-word slither out your snout. You and your nasty dog barking orders, asking us if we supposed to be where we're at, going out of your way to get in mine, but not anymore. I know how to deal with people like you. My mama taught me to raise my fist like a high rise next to a bus stop that someone calls home. Said, don't come back here if you lose. So this is not a threat. It's affordable housing. Don't knock the hustle. This is past due process. This is self-defense against the kind of crime that you can point to on a map and say, I remember living there before they knocked the black out. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all. I do.
Incredible. I think all are just like catching our breath from all of those pieces. Thank you so much, Imani. And I know what you're saying about how weird it is to do like silent poetry, because like we're all snapping here so loudly. But
I feel them. I feel the spirit of the snaps. Amen.
All the awards that you're getting in the chat are entirely well deserved. That was good. do you have any place that we can find your chapbook? Any other ways we can support? Please put those in.
Yeah, so you can, like I said, you can follow me on the things, and that's a good way to know what I'm doing. I believe you can, I don't have any more copies of the chapbook, but you can get it still on Belladonna's website. I'll put that in the chat with Belladonna. Yeah. They're out of, oh, I sent it to Nia, just kidding. They're out of New York. And so, yeah, they should be able to ship it from there. So however long it will take to get from there to wherever you're at. I have some things coming up, you know, I can't be, I tell all my little secrets or whatever. But if you follow me on stuff, then you'll know, so.
Okay, well, hopefully everyone go do that. Thank you so much, Imani. This has been wonderful. Hopefully we can all be in a in-person open mic in the future. And with that, we still have more readers tonight for our open mic. So I'm going to put the second half of the list again in the chat for those of you coming up. Again, if you joined later and you were on the original lineup and I didn't call your name, just message me directly and I'll make sure that we get you in the second half. So up to the mic to kick us off for the second half, I'd like to welcome Hector Castaneda. Welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I have 2 poems, and yeah, that was an amazing feature. Thank you so much, Imani. I believe I've seen some of your work before, and like seeing your work now with like the form, the contrapuntal, beautiful. And yeah, this poem is called How to Undrown Your Inner Child in 1 Minute. My parents loved me so smothered with vast oceans for limbs, and so I taught myself how to drown inside my own body. Your sunken limbs beckon me shoreward, soft, enduring, sanctified, intercradling my raw. Your hands knotted over my kite string quilt throat, unfurl a sanctuary into the warmth of my larynx. Your hand unlocking the sunken eye of my black hole gut, unleashing every child in my subcore. They unfold as dusken limbs, a minute of hands dissolving years of internalized shame. Homophobia fissures its crackling eggshell further. Glints of halo light begin peeking through. I cry waterfalls I had deserted into the most hidden caves of my closets. An oasis bursts from my eyes and settles onto your chest. I undrown my inner child in your sea of limbs. You stay. You staying. You stay. You do not run like I've accustomed my inner child to run from this internal cataclysm. I've always wanted to feel alive. And this one is called The White Sage Prays for Wounded Knee. And it's after my partner gave me some sage that was actually from Wounded Knee. 300 bodies dressed in the red of their own blood. Thousands of white, gunned to the whites of their teeth. Skies blue with weighted gravity. Sun blasting through skin. Of their own blood, 300 bodies dressed in their red. Red like blood. Red like institutionalized, red like racism, red like clay, as in red blood institutionalized by the racism that dried the soil to clay, white like skin, white like teeth, white like their, white like God, white as in white skin dressed in teeth, with their hands tucked into God's bullets, red like red, white like white, blue like absent, the Lakota still red as in red like suicide, addiction, rage like the red eaten by the void mouth of soil to bloom tombstones after the winter of white bodies still frosted with white ice, nameless head. Stones like genocide is intergenerational, is not solely the red of massacre, but the oceanic white wash of blue. Stars, white sage is plucked from by red-stained hands from the clay of a droughted soil, hands gift from their red to my brown. White sage is veined with red, dressed in blue, veils unmaking themselves. White sage still ignites with the red of my flame, the blue of its smoke absent. I cradle sage in both hands, prayer palms to forehead, breathe in all it's red, exhale blue. My skin grows mountain ranges of goosebumps, breathing in its fingers, exhaling the American flag, breathing in indigenized pain, exhaling their humbling resilience, inhaling red skies of smoke, breathing out blue like white, ghosts unwritten from their own hieroglyphs, summoning ancestral bodies, resurrection. Thank you all so much.
Incredible. Thank you. Thank you for both of those pieces. Next up to the mic, I would like to invite Norm Maddox. Welcome, Norm.
Hi, how you doing? I have to say that the lineup ahead of me, absolutely perfect. And Imani, beautiful, beautiful. So in any case, I would like to add to some of that. Got a couple of pieces. America has been infected. A malignant strain of ignorance has mutated into highly virulent thread that will undo decades of evolving tech, uncovering the bottom line that progress is the disintegration of mind from heart, heart from mind. We regresses to me. Ours shrinks to minds. I, me, my becomes a mantra. You know he's a contagion, all by his damn self. Gotta vote against the virus in the White House before it metastasizes beyond the Senate. This nightmare is contagious, although some of us have been asymptomatic all our lives. Indeed, most of us have a natural resistance. And yet, we might need a hope booster. The titer is getting low. Experts are working feverishly, developing a vaccine for this virulent strain of fear and hate, trying to overwhelm natural defenses already weakened by social distance, taking us further out of touch. Better vote as many times as possible. Ancestors got their hand on the lever. Feel the scale tip our way, finally. This other piece is called Note to Myself. It's a good thing I'm writing poetry to express my outrage. If not for that and meditation, I'd be self-immolating regularly, recomposing myself from ashes. I'm staying home, breathing one breath at a time, appreciating simple blessings. It's a good thing I'm staying remote from the community protests because I don't want to witness or threaten my life's energy being co-opted by chaotic rage. Emotional boundaries always overrun by stampede, and shit happens so off the plan that I am more concerned by the mob within. Death is not incidental to protest. I have a difficult time deciding what to live for. Used to be my life was about my daughters after my wife died. Planning the life I want to live is interrupted by other reasons to die. I'm wrestling enough with my own chaos. Definitely not safe while I'm being covertly targeted for my profile. I have to make amends with the Reaper and live life 40 minutes in front of me. I'm gonna do my best to stay safe in my Black man's skin. And that's the long fight. Ancestors remind me the ongoing struggle is life. Gotta meditate harder and write peace that I can share. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you, Norm. It's always a blessing to have you on the mic. Next up, we have...
Thank you so much for the offer. Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Zakia G.E.K. Park. Welcome, Zakia.
Thank you. Thank you, Nia. Greetings, everyone. So good to be here again. And I want to thank Nia for holding this space for us. It's a beautiful, what I call sacred space. And I've loved all the poetry that I've heard tonight. Thank you all so much. So I have two poems tonight. My first poem I wrote years ago when I noticed that so many people were walking around with their cell phones and just not paying attention. This is called Call Me. Smartphone, trim and neat, no hourglass figure, no six-pack physique. Your goal, to be alone, to hover in your zone, caress and press, stroke without control. Your girl, your world, your boy, your joy, walking down the street, oblivious to the people you could meet. She's cute and petite, he's slim and chic, yours to possess and keep. My prediction, your addiction. Beam into cyberspace. What a place. Mind escapes. Climatic expression, the obsession. Life inside a smartphone, alone in fear, reduced to a tear. So my second poem and last one is entitled Earth's Rebirth. This is a poem that I wrote some time ago also, but it's very prevalent always for me. And I think it's extremely important today because we need some clarity, we need some resolve, we need some rebirthing. Mother Earth is cradled in the womb of blackness each night to rejuvenate, recharge, rebirth, to be born in the morn of a new day. Predicated, she is impregnated, and the heaviness of her burden expands until the sun sets, exposing her ripeness. The blackness of the universe surrounds and protects her laborious night. Tomorrow, a new day is brought forth. Hear the songbirds rejoice, singing sweet music for awaking. Smell the gentle freshness of the air. See the multicolored glories, beautiful dance. Touch the tree that beckons a loving hug. Taste the moist dew on the leaves, her afterbirth, the elixir of Mother Earth's rebirth. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Zakia. I think we all need a little bit of optimism, so I appreciate that.
Thank you, Nia. Appreciate it.
Next up to the mic, we have Rory Sill. Welcome, Rory.
You're on mute.
Second. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome, awesome. I just want to congratulate everybody who went before me. There's been nothing but excellence on this mic, and it's been very exciting. I'm going to be reading two poems, and I think they're about 2 minutes each. We'll see. Working with 4 minutes. First poem is called Shh Poem, and it really is about who is given, I guess, you know what, who's given permission to like say the N-word, and it's very much in my poem. Here we go. There's some curse. This isn't your time to talk, to tell me how you feel. This is your time to be quiet. Be sensitive, at least in this conversation with me. I need shelter. Give me shelter. I want to feel safe. So, shh, hush, baby. I need you to grow the fuck up. Grow a pair of souls so you understand how ours could be twin. Be quiet and know God. Know that I am God. If nothing else, then in this moment, yet for all of eternity, and the magnitude that she places in me that reflects her. Shh. Give me my peace. And you can gibber, grabber with the other white folk, the other non-Black POC, those who don't claim a piece of the continent or the diaspora, which is frankly both in you and me. But I really do suggest that you talk with them so we don't have to have this conversation again. So that's the first one. And then the other one is called Iola's Shout. It's a persona poem dedicated to the life of Ida B. Wells Barnett. Mine eyes have seen the glory, surrounded by flames of rope. I will shout from every mountaintop, in every low valley, swinging low, sweet chariot, until those who beat the Bible bloody stop swinging my people. Bring the circle, gather the village. I strike with my pen, my mighty sword, mighty in battle. Lord, give me strength to keep shouting for people who sometimes, many times, cannot hear beyond the whispers of my skirt. Do not protect the shouts of my skirt. Lord, give me strength to not be a fire, burning bridges, though sometimes, Lord, those bridges need to be burnt and broken. And you gave me fire, Lord, so that I might set the world alight with my truth, the truth of my people, that we are people, and we deserve life abundantly out from a hateful white heel. And those are my two poems.
Great. Thank you for sharing both of those. It was nice to see the variation in the persona and then your first poem.
Thank you. I didn't quite hear that. That kind of got blurred out. What did you say again?
I said I appreciated hearing the variation of having you do a persona poem in juxtaposition to your first piece. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
The next piece, I'm sorry, the next person that will be up on the mic. Sorry, there was a very loud dog barking. The next person up to the mic, I'd like to invite R. Chanel. Welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. This poem that I'm going to be reading tonight is actually from my poetry book that's available on Etsy. It's called Crazy Boy, and I want to say, hurt and injustice has oppressed our community for generations, but before we can address racial injustice, we must acknowledge prejudices among our own people. Stalking, harassment, and bullying can kill. And I actually wrote this poem because I had witnessed cyberbullying. Hey, crazy boy, why you acting like that? You talk funny, you walk funny. Why you acting so black? Angry boy, why you so mad and me mugging so hard? Paramount Pictures should buy your story. You who are nothing without God. You should be happy. Freedom is ringing. You're free at last. Yeah, give them your story so the bootleggers can bootleg it and the producers can lace a soundtrack. Nutty Professor, Big Mama's House, Medea's Family Reunion, Color Purple, and that crazy black boy that sounds like a groupie in his MySpace video blog, yet he's telling the truth, boy. What can I say? He gets attached like a pit bull that has tasted blood with jaws of steel. That is a metaphor representing the stereotypes of society that detain my black brother, like the hard, cold grip of his past, the hood. He's like a 5-disc CD changer. Be careful what button you push because you don't know what you're going to get. Don't let him drown you, who he looks up to. He's going to drown in misery as a baby who can't swim. You call yourself a prophet? Prophesy to his dry bones, that lay in the heat of life, smoldering and withering. Prophesy the breath of life. Hey, crazy boy, we're praying for you, yet we're getting joy at your expense. laughing hysterically on the inside. Don't you know, a wicked generation, that the 7 eyes of God sees your 70 times 7 evil spirits? Yet you sit and paste your poison all over the sanctuary. Vengeance is the Lord's. How can you who are wicked speak something good? I look, evil lurks but shows your face. When I would do good, evil is always present. With tainted love, he disregards the testimony of the waterfall. He packs his bags and waits by the door singing. The white man in his white coat is coming to label me mentally unstable, a danger to others, a danger to myself. One slip of my faith as I fall on my face, but they don't have a heaven or a hell to put me in. They come to me, trying to make me believe something is wrong with me. Cunning. Coy. They said the same thing to Jesus as he said, destroy this temple and I will raise it in 3 days. And look at him. Crazy boy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So we have 2 more readers to round us up this evening. I'd like to invite kinfolks up to the mic. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much, Nia. Thank you, everyone. Wow, the ancestors are screaming with delight. This is such an amazing circle. Zoom needs to have a reaction button that's just fire, because that's what it's been for me, just fire in my heart. I actually will just read one poem. This one is the one that's calling to me. I am not a professional poet. My poetry has been blessed to be in a few books. I still am not a professional poet. I am an activist. And any of my poetry that I write to heal myself. I hope that people find healing in it as well. So I just wanted to give that preface. This is in honor of my granny, Miss Becca, who gave me flight. She not ready to come true, you know. No crawling and tumbling for her. My granny, Miss Becca, told them that I would never, ever bow hand and knee. I would walk. And obey a woman from the bush in St. Anne Parish, Jamaica, Miss Becca watched me with a hawk's stare as I sat motionless, gazing diamond hard right back at her. That child has 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Nah, she not ready to come, I tell you. As an autistic Black child growing up in the 70s, I wasn't properly diagnosed. After I shook from my spell 4 years later, it was Miss Becca who caught me, who pulled me in. She held me back when I stood tall with the wisdom of redwoods and thick-skinned like the lapping of tides. Each step I was dying to take without crashing, without knowing any fear. Slowly, Miss Becca's hand dropped and she said, go on, run, a picnic. My heart drumming red wild as my feet recalled circles of truth, feet moving so fast that I no longer had drag, honey, just pure flight. I've been soaring ever since. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, Miss Becca, for giving me my winged feet and my spirit always lifting. Thank you. That's it.
That's absolutely beautiful. And I think you spoke that so well, that the ancestors truly are in this space, and throughout everyone's pieces, just hearing their wisdom and their stories carried through. And I think you did an excellent job at sharing that.
Thank you, Nia. Thank you, everyone.
So to round us out this evening and take us all home, I'm excited to invite Avacha up to the mic. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Wow. It's good to be here with everybody. And so I'm going to try and do two. And since folks have been talking about ancestors, I want to talk about a couple. Howlin' Wolf, who I loved as a musician, just because he was such a powerful presence, a gigantic man, and the stereotypical thing that the powers that be are afraid of in Black folks. And there were so many stereotypes about him. I made a point of trying to meet him when I was a teeny bopper. Went to a place he was working at in Detroit. And I was terrified, but I introduced myself to him, waiting for him to growl at me. And he was a gentlest person. I said, you know what? I thought you were supposed to be so mean and tough. And he looked down at me and he said, I know who I'm talking to. I did some homework on Howlin' Wolf. Chester Arthur Burnett, born in 1910, 76 he died, and found out that he not only was a great musician, he was a stereotypical anti-stereotypical Black man. He was completely monogamous. He completely worshiped his wife and his children. He, before there was such a thing as medical care, all of his musicians had medical care. So before, every musician should have a picture of Howlin' Wolf on their wall for starting insurance for medical care for musicians. But anyway, it's called Walking in the Tracks of the Wolf. Dear Wolf, I can still feel your fearless presence, the secure stance of your unbending pride, standing tall, moaning at midnight in a world of small-minded midgets. Your spirit still sings to me, and your fiercely brilliant integrity still howls, inspires courage in the face of mediocrity. Wolf, you were, you are, and will always be the example that set the standard, that strengthened the backs, raised the heads, and gave birth to a new kind of musician. The unapologetic challenge of your swagger, the unashamed sensuality in your song, You. I say you completely reinvented reality. Your slow burning guitar magic was strong enough to demand respect, to command respect from even the most disrespectful. And I thank you, Wolf, for moaning the blinders off your eyes. Your proud man's cry paid the price. The strength of your arrogant howling made ours a life worth living. You howled us into the light and made ours a better place. The intensity of your pride sung us awake, and for that I will forever be grateful. And this last one, kinfolks, thank you. Kinfolks did paying homage to our Caribbean ancestors, of which I have several folks from several islands. This is called the Elixir of Nzinga. And for those of you who don't know, there were two Nzingas, and you should know about both of them. Anyway, I'm sure MoAD's got a lot of information on both of them. So this one is called Elixir of Nzinga. And if I mention some things, some people that you don't know in there, please do your homework. Army sailed oceans, riding inside the indescribable waves of my uncontrollable tears, my tears. Transplanted African tears, a spice that put the soul in soul food, the inescapable key or spiritual fuel, the diet that fired up Chief Osceola, caused the Seminole Wars, legalized slave traders. Stealing his wife was the real reason. Stealing his soul made his woman the final straw. It was my tears. I say my tears fed hundreds of invisible conductors on the ever-flowing, moving underground railroad, from quiet Quakers to the loud fervor of John Brown, to the proud, invincible determination of that beautiful, no-quitting sister, Harriet Tubman. My African tears. Fed on ankle, let nobody turn me around, swallowed and digested and converted all that pain, that terrible weight, that inhumane burden, that hole in the soul, the secret of our heat and our cool in society's stone cold, strong healing waters, and Nzinga's elixir. Stronger than dread, put a damper on the handcuffs of fear, and cleansed and freed our hearts and fed our souls from Suriname to Trinidad to Curaçao to Ain't No Stopping Us Now, Mississippi, fueled Jamaica's Granny Nanny, El Negro Falucho de Argentina, Colombia's Bencos Piojo and de Palenque, and Haiti's Toussaint Louverture. We swam through hell on that ocean of tears. At times, I say times, the sorrow was so loud, that sorrow was so loud, sorrow, so loud. Even the night screamed, and the clouds cried, and the rain fell down from the sky red with blood. These tears have irrigated millions of trees of cotton, coffee, yucca, breadfruit, and sugar cane. They season your grandma's greens, Titi's finger-licking lechon, and Uncle Lalo's curried shrimp. They are in the sweet taste of flan and callaloo, and every piece of coconut bread and all the wheat that you eat. These tears have followed you through the favelas in Brazil to Haiti's Lavalas, fertilize the anger hidden behind the tired smiles in every after hour juke joint and Cantilas de Solar and Bob Marley's mysticism and Estebanico's so-called discoveries and Beethoven's remarkable symphonies, La Bomba Borinquena of Don Rafael Cepeda and the deceptive revelry of Batucada and Mardi Gras. Ain't no secret. David walking Dandara and Zumbi of Palmares got drunk on my tears. It was my tears that quenched the furious thirst of Nat Turner and put the power behind all those funny jokes. Comedy, a costume, a disguise, a clever shield, the acceptable watery mask of Moms Mabley and Richard Pryor and Zinga's elixir. And Zinga's elixir, I say in Zinga's elixir transplanted medicine, a metaphysical ladder. These tears lifted our souls, lubricated the throats of Marcus Garvey and Fannie Lou Hamer, energized the creative will of Arturo Schoenberg, and the Schoenberg Museum grew up on the hard-earned root, on the foundation of historical bricks formed by years of tears and Zinga's elixir. Our tears are sacred tears. Wherever we go, we have taken you with us. Each and every day, every stitch of my clothes is wet with my crying for you. You are my soul food, the key to my mystique, our mystique. You are our fuel. Africa, you have covered the whole world, swimming in our tears, singing and dancing and praying and laughing in our tears. But I wonder, mama, 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 Africa, do you ever, have you ever, will you ever cry for us? Sometimes I feel like I was just a motherless child, a long, long, long way from home. Thank you.
Thank you, Abacha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Every single time that you share, you are breathing life and history and wisdom. It is so wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you. Can I give a pitch for our series?
Go for it. Absolutely.
Saturday of the month, I put it in the chat. The fourth Saturday of the month, we're usually at Cesar Chavez, but since the pandemic, we're on Zoom. So you can look on my website. I put my website there because we changed the code every couple of days before the thing to cut out the nonsense. And please come. So it's the fourth Saturday of the month. It's a multilingual reading. So we've had over 20 different languages. There'll always be at least one bilingual language, one bilingual poet, because it's time we stop the bullshit, forgive my language, and start listening to each other. Enough of my stuff. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Abacha. I think you left us on a perfect note with a reminder that we all have homework to do. We have to keep learning our history. We have to keep telling our stories. And so I thank you all for being here in this space tonight and for being vulnerable, for sharing. It was absolutely amazing. And I think every single time I feel this, I feel so uplifted and full being in your company. And so thank you again, everyone. This is an ongoing series that happens every other week. And so our next open mic will be on August 27th. I am putting the link in the chat right now. We have Raymond Nat Turner as our feature. So please join us again and come back and contribute. Again, as I mentioned earlier too, we would love to hear your feedback about your experience at this program. We'll be putting a survey in the chat as well because your input always matters. And lastly, if you are able to support financially, donations are always welcome. You can donate through our website or also by texting us. I'm going to actually share some information on the screen so that folks have a visual as well. But again, thank you all for being here. And this space is possible because of the words and the wisdom that you contribute. So thank you. And I hope that everyone has a good rest of your evening.